Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we continue the FL Studio series right here at BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we're going to look at the new FL Studio 21.3's update called the Chord Generation Tool. Let's hop straight into it. So I'm still trying to figure out the best way to use this. It is a little tricky. I'm not going to act like this is the easiest tool ever, but at least we have a new tool. So firstly, you can hit Alt-P while in the piano roll to pull up this tool, or go to your tools icon and then switch this to generate chord progression. Okay, so firstly, it needs a key. So the first thing that's not obvious is how to set the key. So you have to right click, go to edit, and then you can right click your options here. So let's say you want to write in the key of D minor. Let's right click on D and then right click on minor natural. Then we need to tell it to generate chords after we've changed the setting. So let's hit generate. So the more to the left you go with conventional, the more basic the chord progression will sound as far as like not taking too much risk. The more to the right you go, it creates chord progressions that sound very experimental. So let's hit generate on both sides. Let's start with the conventional. Now, if you go all the way conventional, it's going to play the same chord. So let's lighten up on this a little bit. And you can see it took 2 generation clicks to pull up a different chord here. It keeps pulling the same chords. So somewhere like 50% left will give you different chords here. There's literally 2 chords, but in trap, sometimes you use 2 chords. So there's also some presets here. I'm not going to get into presets because that requires a different lesson. But if you guys want to just quickly load up these presets, I think there should be a 251 in here personally, because it's like a huge major chord progression. So I don't really use this because of the restrictions on it. So I'm going to close that out. But if you go to manual, you could also type in your chord progression here, I believe with Roman numerals, if I'm not making that up. And you could slide the slider. Here's what I really use is the generate tab. You could slide the slider. So I like more R&B chords. There's also jazz chords and house and metal chords. So let's move it to jazz and house being our left and our right hemisphere here. And it says set the safety unusualness of generated progression. So again, this is more like, where is that slider up top going to be? Okay, is it going to be more on the left or more on the right? So more on the right means experimentative. More on the left means more conservative. Diatonic notes says increase to encourage chords, and extension notes, which use more in scale notes. I wish this were a little more clear as to what the stuff was doing. But again, we didn't, we could only thank them. And then here, I like to max this out at 3. These are the max notes. It says average number of extensions per chord. So if you don't know, what makes jazz is because it could take a simple triad like a C major chord, C, E, G, and it can make it a C major 9th chord. It sounds very big because it has a lot of notes in it. So the more notes you add to the extension, the bigger the jazz sound. Under advanced, I don't use these, but it says the degree to which the AI model takes into account the metric position of a chord. So let's just turn that up. Loop depth, I have no idea what this means. Context length, again, where these terms need to be defined. Chord repeats, higher values encourage more repeats from one chord to the next. Higher values encourage more repeats. So no, we don't want that. And then there's like a little button here that I can't see. Okay, so let's hit generate. So this is AI based. According to this, it says the AI model that it's using. See how it's like, So that's not very exciting. So let's pull it to the left and let's generate. It sounds like gospel chords. Now that's very gospel sounding. I don't know what in here is causing it to sound so dissonant. So let's pull it to the house side. Let's see if it picks from different chords. These results are not good. They're not good. Okay, so let me show you the results I like, or the settings that I like, I'll say. So let's start all the way from scratch. Let's right click, let's edit this, and let's make this C sharp minor natural. And then from here, I'll usually pull my slider to the left where it says conventional. We'll go to the generate tab. I move my thing to R&B. I just like the R&B sound a little bit better. And I'll turn the diatonic notes all the way up. I'll make sure that the substitute add is in here. I believe this is for chord substitutions, but it says replaces basic chord notes with the alterations or add them as extra notes. Okay, and then I usually crank this up to 3 max notes. I don't mess with the advanced tab. Okay, maybe last time that's why it sounded so weird. So let's hit generate. Now if you click this drop down, you can swap out the chords as you listen back. That chord doesn't sound right, so we can switch it out. There we go. So this is a little more in the ballpark of acceptable. Okay, so that's how I would use it. And then here you could just draw on your top line over top. So okay, so at this point, there's a script. If you look into their forums, there's a script. Go to the tools, and if you didn't update to 21.1 or 0.2 yet, you might not see these yet, but these are called scripts. So here, we're going to grab these from the ImageLine forums. Different users have created different scripts. So this one's called the Humanize script. And what it does is it makes the chord progression sound more real by moving the notes and changing the velocities of each note. Only thing is you have to grab the slice tool and make sure no notes are overlapping. So I hit shift right click to make sure no notes are overlapping. We don't even want this overlap at the end. Okay, so now I can hit shift down and shift up to change the key. Keep in mind this will still say C sharp minor even though we're in a different chord. At a different scale. I think this sounds best. And now you can go in and revoice the chords. If your chords are bundled up, just hit Alt-G to ungroup them. To select individual notes, hit Control-Shift. So I think right here is causing a lot of friction. Let's revoice this. I want that to be B instead. Okay, so it's a little less dissonant. So to me, R&B means like 7th chords and 9th chords. I'm not sure why this doesn't give us those chord types. And again, it could be because of the voicing. So this is a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a major triad. This is with an added 2. So that's going to be a 9th added. So it's D major, add 9 so far. And then you have a D, which is the same note as the root note. So it's D major, add 9. But they don't use like major 9th chords or minor 9th chords. I don't know why it's not like that. Maybe it's a setting I don't have on. Because let me show you guys something. Under chord stamps, you have these things called minor ninths. They're very lush chords. These are very jazzy. So I'm wondering why we don't get these type chords. So maybe there's going to be new AI models added. I'm not sure. So let's hit Alt-P again. Let's start from scratch. Okay, so let's right click, select your key, right click. Okay, and then select different ones. Let's try a different key this time. Let's try so it has major hexatonic, but it doesn't have minor hexatonic. That's very weird. Let's do major hexatonic. And then let's right click and switch it to like C major. And then we'll generate. ImageLine, we need the minor hexatonic. That's pretty cool. Sounds very pop though, so let's switch this to R&B. Let's regenerate. I think the R&B just revoices the chords. I don't think it picks different chords. I think it just revoices the notes. Sounds very like boring. I mean, it sounds very run in the mill. Let's move it to more adventurous. Kind of like stagnant at the end, so switch out the last chord. This is cool, but let's switch out that second chord. You could also turn off the bass note. There we go. So I will say, so far from our experience that you've seen in this video, it's mostly hit, but it could also be miss. And as long as we understand there's limitations to it so far, you know, it's just a tool to get you started. It's not like cookie cutter stuff. You actually have to do stuff in order for this to work, which I think is a good thing. Let's pull this down an octave. It's a little dark. Let's switch the key, hit shift down. And then let's add our humanized script. See how it cuts the notes off if they overlap. So you got to make sure these notes don't overlap, meaning note by note, not like other notes. This is probably our best chord progression so far. Again, if you want to change out the voicing, you could highlight this, hit Alt-G to ungroup the notes, and then hit Control up or move the notes hitting Shift up or Shift down. So very like, you know, like telling a story type beat. All right, so if you guys want me to investigate this more, I mean, that's the extent of what I've seen this used for. I really haven't. So let me show you actually a couple more things. Let's go to a new pattern. I meant to show you this one thing. If you hit Alt-P, sometimes it throws Python errors, but then it resets. But we're going to pull this up to an 8-bar chord progression. And I don't know why it keeps throwing me errors now, but let's right click and let's add. Let's start at the minor natural scale. Let's right click and let's say we want to write in G minor. Okay, so let's pull this to more adventurous. So some of these, it's not showing the notes like it was before. Let's generate. So I think this is just part of the beta. It's just, it's not doing anything. Okay, that's interesting. So I stand corrected. It did nothing. All right, so it looks like it just glitched out on us. Well, you see the real deal. I'm not going to waste your time with messing with this even further, but there are limitations. Again, this is beta, so they're still trying to figure out what's good and what's not good. I will say probably 70% of the chance you're going to get good chord progressions with this. The other 30%, you're going to have to tweak stuff. So you still kind of need to know music theory with this tool to a degree. So is this going to be a replacement for music producers? Not necessarily. I think it's just a tool for us to have more fun. So shout out to ImageLine. And again, you guys saw the real deal of how it actually works. Let me switch out the sound just to... Now let's play a lower velocity. So this is how I would play it in a real song with a lower velocity. It's a pretty cool chord progression. Something I wouldn't do naturally. So that's what it is for me, is just getting outside of my routine. So if you guys want to learn music theory, go to busyworksbeats.com, look for the music theory essentials. I'll leave a link below. And then you can mess with this. Just go to busyworksbeats.com to learn more about FL Studio. We have a free FL Studio course. I'll see you guys there. Peace.